after getting transmigrated into some angsty romance novel, I'd been diligently playing the part of the lovesick puppy. The heroine could torture me 1,000 times over, and I just grit my teeth and pretend not to notice. Then, her first love flew back from overseas overnight to crash our engagement and tell me to step aside. The heroine stood off to the side, enjoying the show. "Leo, if you beg me, I'll get you out of this." Right at that moment, the system told me I was free from my role. I just scoffed, hopped onto a table, and grabbed a mop from the corner, ready to sweep the floor with everyone. Hilarious. I used to be the star of an unhinged chaos novel. Today was Isabella Wilson's birthday party. 3 years ago, her first love, Julian, went abroad, and she picked me up as his rebound. After I'd simped for her for 3 years, she finally grew a conscience and told me she'd make us official at her birthday party. But as soon as he heard the news, her ex came rushing back. He grabbed Isabella's hand, ready to drag her away, and said in this cloyingly sweet, passive-aggressive tone, "Isabella, is Leo upset? But he's had 3 years with you in my place. He should be content with that." With every step I took, I could barely suppress the grin spreading across my face. My body surged with that familiar, exhilarating feeling once again. Me, the most unhinged protagonist on the planet. Finally, I was back. Isabella, arms crossed, watched my dejected retreat, assuming I was hurt and jealous. She smirked. "Leo Vance, beg me. You care about your pride more than anything, don't you? Just say the word, and I'll get you out of this mess." Hearing that, even the system said a silent prayer for her. "Host, it seems she has no idea you've been released from your role." I was already sick of playing the lovesick doormat for 3 years, with a fire burning in my gut. And now this woman had the gall to humiliate me in public. Beg her? Fine. We'll see who's begging whom in a minute. As I neared the exit, Isabella frowned and threatened, "Leo, if you dare walk out of here today, don't ever come back." I left. Then I came right back, carrying the mop the janitor had left in the corner. With a cold laugh, I used a chair to vault onto the table. Then I shoved over the entire wall of champagne glasses that had been set up for decoration. A deafening crash of shattering glass silenced the entire room, except for Isabella. She thought I was just making a scene to get her attention. "Is this your new tactic for getting my attention? Leo, do you really think—" She never got to finish her sentence, because I shoved the mop right in her face. "You and your cheesy lines are so greasy, you could save a restaurant a fortune on cooking oil. I'm in a good mood today, so I'll help you wash that face of yours. No need to thank me." Before Isabella could say another word, I started scrubbing her pretty face with the mop. The system even started playing a perfectly timed song over the venue's speakers. The mop wasn't dry and was still dripping water. It dripped all over Isabella's designer dress, which was now as dark as the look on her face. Her first love shrieked, hesitated for a second, then rushed forward. "Leo, buddy, I know you're jealous that Isabella loves me, but you can't treat her like this. It's not fair." "Oh right, how could I forget? There was one more." I turned my head, cracked my knuckles, and let out a cackle. "And you, are you ready? It's showtime." That night, with a mop in my hand, I was like a god of war. I laid waste to the entire party and finally got to be myself again. I only have one motto in life: all offense, no defense. Pure chaos. Honestly, Isabella should be counting her blessings. If this wasn't at a party, it wouldn't have just been water on that mop. As Isabella and her first love, Julian Lynn, were leaving, they got swarmed by reporters who had been waiting outside. Julian had arranged for them to be there, hoping to capture photos of my humiliation. Too bad they didn't get a shot of me leaving in disgrace. Instead, they got plenty of pictures of Isabella and Julian looking like drowned rats, reeking of toilet bowl cleaner. I knew that after tonight, this incident would be the joke of high society for a long, long time. But what did that have to do with me? Free from my doormat persona, I went home in a fantastic mood. Ever since I was dropped into this angsty novel, my life had been nothing but suffocating. Not only did I have to stare at Isabella's ice queen face every day, but I also had to endure her constant mental and emotional abuse. She treated me like a dog she could summon and dismiss at will. Every time I wanted to lose it and just strangle her, the system would warn me that it wasn't time yet, to just hold on a little longer. I endured and endured until today, when I could finally shed that pathetic simp role. Host, one more thing. Now that your persona has changed, the world's plot will change accordingly. For instance, it's shifting from an angsty romance to a revenge story. You have 3 months to bring down Isabella's company on your own. A revenge story. I like the sound of that. After Julian went abroad, Isabella had been depressed for a long time. Her father couldn't stand it anymore, so he used my father's massive medical bills to blackmail me into becoming Julian's stand-in. That's how my 3 years of entanglement with Isabella began. To keep me obediently by her side, Isabella forbade me from working, turning me into a parasite completely dependent on her. Since the system wants me to take her down, the first order of business is to find a job. Just then, Isabella sent me a long voice message. Given her signature condescending tone, I didn't bother listening and just converted it to text. Leo Vance, who gave you the nerve to be so audacious? Speak. Do you think these little games are going to attract my attention? You'd better give me a good reason, or you're finished. I replied immediately, you should be thanking your lucky stars. Next time, it won't be a cake I'm throwing at you. And go gargle with gravel. It sounds like you're trying to cough up a shoe. After roasting Isabella, I fired off several resumes and went to bed satisfied. The next day, as expected, I was flooded with rejection messages. Isabella was the CEO of Wilson Corp after all. It was a simple matter for her to tell other companies not to hire me. That's why I had a backup plan. I had already applied to her main competitor, White Corp. The position was for a special assistant, and the interview was this afternoon. When I got there, I realized the line of applicants was a mile long. Still, I was determined to get this job, because I had a secret weapon. When they asked me what my competitive advantage was, I answered confidently, I know all of Isabella Wilson's dirty secrets. The interviewers were stunned, completely baffled by my answer. But one woman spoke up. For instance, you know how she disappeared from the public eye for a while recently? Everyone thought she went abroad to expand her market, right? Nope. The truth is, she had a botched plastic surgery job and was in the hospital for repairs. She'd been driving me crazy during that time, dragging me out for high-speed drives in the middle of the night. So, I made an extra spicy hot pot that landed her in the hospital. The woman couldn't help but let out a laugh. All right, you're hired. Looks like my guess was right. This was the newly appointed CEO, Chloe White, the biggest dark horse in the novel, and the one with the best shot at taking down Isabella. Toppling Isabella on my own would be tough, so I needed to latch onto a powerful ally. With the job secured, I was on my way home when I suddenly got a call from Isabella's dad. Leo Vance, you get your ass over to the Starlight Club right now. Looks like he heard about me giving his daughter a mop facial. I cracked my knuckles. Isabella's dad was no saint either. He'd given me plenty of grief. Before, I had to take it. Now, I was ready to strike back. Get ready for the storm, you old bastard. Walking down the hallway, I could already hear Isabella's dad's voice. Julian, don't you worry. Today, I'm going to punish Leo Vance properly. I'll make him get on his knees and beg for your forgiveness. The moment I stepped into the private room, Isabella's dad threw a glass at my feet and roared at me to kneel. Julian sat to the side, glaring at me with fury. I glanced at him and said, I'll go get a broom to sweep up this broken glass. The word broom triggered him, and the memory of last night made him shudder. Isabella's dad had his men hold me back. What broom? You'll pick it up with your bare hands. I took the opportunity to lunge forward and hug his leg. Isabella's dad let out a scream and recoiled in horror. What are you doing? Sir, this is some fine material on these trousers. You don't mind if I feel it a bit, do you? I giggled creepily, rubbing my hands together. An unhinged protagonist doesn't just need to be crazy sometimes, you have to be a total creep. Isabella's dad was, as expected, terrified and kept backing away. But I clung to his leg, shouting even louder than he was. Please, just let me touch them. Please, I'm begging you. Just a couple of pats, that's all, just a couple. Are you insane, Leo? Get off me. Get off. Then I turned my gaze to Julian. His face went white, and he and Isabella's dad scrambled away. As he ran, he fumbled with his phone. Isabella, Leo's completely lost his mind, and they wanted me to kneel and beg? Hilarious. What do they take me for? I got up from the floor and straightened my clothes. As I walked out, I saw Chloe White. She was looking at me, seemingly at a loss for words. I had no idea when she'd arrived or how much she'd seen. Remembering she was my future boss, I figured I should probably try to salvage my image a little. But before I could speak, she asked me, "Have you awakened too?" I looked at her, confused. Turned out she had gained self-awareness 2 days ago. Coincidentally, it was the same day I broke from my persona and wrecked Isabella's birthday party. This must be what the system meant by the plot deviating after I was released. Because Isabella was the protagonist, Chloe's own talents had always been overshadowed. That's why she was so desperate to prove herself. Chloe and I came to an agreement. We would work together to bring down Isabella Wilson. On my first official day of work, Chloe took me to a project bidding conference. Isabella was there with Julian by her side. I heard they were back together and had already released the news to the media. The funny thing was, I'd been Isabella's lapdog for 3 years and never even got a title. Julian, on the other hand, was so deeply in love that he'd abandoned his own family's company to become Isabella's secretary. Seeing me with Chloe, Isabella shot me a knowing look. "Leo Vance, no wonder you've grown some wings. You've already found your next sugar mama." She then turned to Chloe. "You want my leftovers? I didn't know you were into that sort of thing, Ms. White." All right. Looks like the mop facial didn't manage to wash her mouth out. While waiting for the presentations to start, I went to the restroom. I didn't expect Isabella to corner me at the door. "Leo, are you done with your games? There's a limit to playing hard to get. To piss me off, you even went to Chloe White. How could you be so cheap and shameless? You think I'm going to take that?" I beckoned her closer with my finger. "I have something to tell you." Isabella smirked. A new trick to please me, I see. While she was off guard, I shoved her into a bathroom stall and locked the door from the outside. Then I took a deep breath and started shouting, "Ms. Wilson, stop. We can't do this here. Someone help. Stop, Ms. Wilson. She's trying to flush the company's confidential files down the toilet." Hearing the commotion, a crowd of people came rushing over. I held the door shut with one hand and viciously pinched my own leg with the other, forcing a pained expression onto my face. Isabella was inside, kicking the door furiously. The people outside couldn't see in, so they assumed she was actually destroying evidence. "Whoa, what's with Ms. Wilson? What's wrong with her? Is the pressure getting to her? Why would she destroy files in a bathroom? Is this some kind of rich person quirk? I guess we'll never understand." Because of this fiasco, Isabella's performance during the final bid was abysmal. Naturally, Chloe's company won the project. She said she wanted to take me out for a celebratory dinner, but just then, I got a call from home. Isabella's dad had cut off my father's medical payments, and my uncle's family was now raising hell at my house. Speaking of my aunt and uncle, they were a real piece of work. They fit every stereotype of the trashy relatives in an angsty novel. They were originally poor and came to my dad for help when they had nowhere else to go. My dad took them in. Later, when my family went bankrupt and my dad was hospitalized, they repaid his kindness with malice, seizing my family's assets. They also refused to pay for my dad's hospital bills. With no other options, I had to agree to Isabella's dad's deal to become a stand-in. Now that I'd had a falling out with him, my uncle's family refused to pay and told me to figure it out myself. I rolled up my sleeves, my eyes welling up with tears of gratitude. Before, my character role restricted me from fighting back. But now, such a perfect environment, such perfect conditions. The time, the place, the people, it was all aligned. If I didn't go crazy now, when would I? Chloe offered to help me handle my dad's hospital situation. I borrowed a few of her people and stormed back home. It was originally my house, but my uncle's family had changed the locks after they took it over. I banged on the door with all my might. Who is it? Are you trying to kill someone? What's with all the banging? When she saw it was me, my aunt's face changed. Leo, are you crazy? Is that any way to knock on someone's door? I pushed my way inside. Her family was in the middle of dinner. Seeing me, my uncle put down his chopsticks and held out his hand for money. We paid for your father's hospital bills the last 2 days. It's $2,000 in total. Pay up. You hear me? My cousin sneered. Dad, he was probably dumped by Isabella. I saw online that the young master of the Lin family is back. This rebound guy definitely got kicked to the curb. Before, they wouldn't have dared to be so brazen, out of respect for Isabella. Hearing this, my uncle crossed his arms and snorted. So you got dumped? Does that mean you let her screw you for 3 years for free? With that, the father and son burst out laughing. I flipped the dining table over. Laugh. Is it that funny? Huh? Speak up. Leo, have you lost your mind? Before they could react, I walked into the living room and started smashing things. Move fast, look cool. Stop. That's porcelain. Porcelain. I just bought that from an antique shop last month. A Qing Dynasty vase. My heart is acting up. Knowing when to stop? Not a chance. With relatives this awful, you have to pull them out by the roots. I then turned and went into the kitchen. When I came out, my aunt was on the floor, clutching her head and wailing at the shards. My money, my vase, my precious things. My uncle's eyes turned red, and he rushed forward to shove me. Leo, you ungrateful bastard, coming to my house to... Before he could touch me, I collapsed to the ground, clutching my chest and writhing. He's hitting me. He's hitting me. Someone's going to die. Is there no justice in this world? An old man bullying his own nephew, just because my dad is sick and can't protect me. It wasn't enough to take my house. Now you want to take my life. I wailed dramatically and shot a look at Chloe's people waiting outside. They came in and started filming me on the ground. Then they went out and knocked on the doors of the other apartments on the floor. My aunt and uncle were completely stunned by my performance. Finally, my cousin figured it out. Leo, you're doing this on purpose. A crowd of onlookers was growing. Someone even started a live stream. You guys seeing this? I can't believe it. I'm watching a real-life soap opera about trashy relatives. The day after this happened, it was trending locally online. Netizens were all on my side, denouncing my aunt and uncle's family. Someone found their address, and they couldn't leave the house without being recognized and yelled at. My cousin was ridiculed at school and had to stay home. I had only one demand: give me my house back. In this day and age, rumors and public opinion are more powerful than anything, especially when they're true. On the third day, my uncle's family finally couldn't take it anymore and surrendered. When my aunt handed me the deed to the house, her face was full of hatred. The Vance family produced a heartless monster like you. Sooner or later, lightning will strike you down. The moment the words left her mouth, a clap of thunder echoed in the clear sky. My expression didn't change. My aunt was so frightened she had another heart attack and was rushed to the hospital. After dealing with the family drama, I went back to work. Since Chloe and I were the only two awakened people in this world, we often got together to plot Isabella's downfall. Chloe was a good boss and never mistreated her employees. She even frequently took me to banquets to get free food and drinks. So, I began to openly slack off at work. Chloe noticed but didn't say anything. Instead, the next day, she had my desk moved to a corner. I was so moved. It was even better for slacking off. After a while, the other employees started giving us weird looks. While I was taking a paid bathroom break, I overheard some gossip about me. Did you hear? That pretty boy Leo has climbed into CEO White's bed. Last time I went to deliver some files, I saw Chloe patting Leo's back really intimately. What? That's a complete fabrication. Chloe patting my back intimately? She saw me playing a game on my phone with my face glued to the screen and slapped me so hard she nearly knocked a lung out. The woman does boxing every day. You call that intimate? I know, right? I heard Leo used to have a thing with CEO Wilson from Wilson Corp, too. Huh? A thing? Were they dating? It was definitely a sugar daddy situation. Otherwise, why would someone of CEO Wilson's status even look at him? I couldn't listen anymore. I decided to go back and put on a stone-cold face to make Chloe guess what was wrong. Just as I was about to push the door open, someone else spoke up. Big news. Isabella Wilson is here at our company. What? But Wilson Corp and our company are mortal enemies. Aren't they? Who knows? I just saw a message in the company group chat saying she's heading to the restroom on this floor. I was baffled. What was Isabella up to now? Did she have nothing better to do than come to our company? Couldn't be that she was here to get revenge for losing the bid. Could it? As it turned out, that was exactly it. In the few seconds I was lost in thought, I heard a familiar shout from outside the restroom. Leo Vance. I know you're in there. Get out here. Seriously, Isabella? Are you nuts? You're even going to micromanage my paid bathroom breaks? I didn't move. I whipped out my phone and started frantically messaging Chloe. I have no idea what's going on. She said she wanted to come to the company to discuss business. Then she wanted a tour, so I had someone show her around. I didn't know she'd go to the restroom. Maybe she just likes our bathroom decor? Seeing that I wasn't coming out, Isabella continued to shout, Leo, you've been throwing this tantrum for so long. Isn't it enough? I admit your tactics are clever, but I'm only slightly interested in you. Why didn't I realize how cringy Isabella was before? Okay, she was, but not to this degree. Ever since I broke free from my angsty novel protagonist persona and let myself go, I felt like this world was getting weirder and weirder. And the system, after giving me my mission, had gone completely silent. Leo, you used to say you loved me over and over. What is this, some new game of playing hard to get? Fearing she would say something even more damaging and ruin my reputation, I reluctantly ended my break and walked out. Isabella, why are you so petty? No way, no way. Don't tell me it's because I found out what you were trying to do in the bathroom last time. So you followed me here to try it again, I said in an exaggerated, shocked tone. What happened at the bidding conference hadn't spread widely, as Isabella had spent a lot of money to suppress it. So, the public had no idea what had really gone down that day. Now, with just a few words from me, the onlookers naturally started connecting the dots. They all backed away from Isabella. Oh my God, the habits of the rich. Are they all into such kinky stuff? Her mind must be twisted from all the pressure. Damn capitalists. Hearing the whispers around her, Isabella's face turned shades of red and green. But she was the novel's heroine. She was confident and arrogant. That's enough, Leo. Come with me. I'll play along with your little game, but stop making a scene. The people around me started whispering again. So Leo and CEO Wilson really do have that kind of relationship. He must have joined our company with an ulterior motive. What if he's here to steal trade secrets? Poor CEO White. A vein throbbed in my temple. If Isabella didn't leave soon, I wouldn't be able to stay at this company much longer. I suddenly clutched my head and squatted down, looking like I was in agony. I started frantically scratching my hair, shouting, "Don't hit me! Don't hit me!" Then I started screaming and running around the room. I randomly found the gossipy colleague from the bathroom and grabbed him by the shoulders, shaking him violently. Sorry, buddy. I don't do passive-aggressive. I get my revenge immediately, and my revenge is pure chaos. Having been tipped off, Chloe arrived right on cue with a few doctors. Leo's having another episode. You all don't know this, but when I interviewed him, he told me he had been emotionally manipulated and abused by a toxic woman. His mental state was a complete mess. I took pity on him and hired him. He was almost better, but he got triggered again today. It's going to take a while for him to recover this time. Chloe even squeezed out a few tears. She had successfully established herself as a kind and compassionate boss in front of her employees, while also dragging Isabella's image through the mud. She also gave me a perfect excuse for my outburst, making everyone look at me with sympathy. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Author, were you blind? How could you make Isabella the heroine when you had her? The company employees' emotions were stirred up. United in their anger, they started chanting at Isabella and her entourage, "Get out! Get out!" Because of this incident, Chloe gave me a special leave of 1 week to rest at home, ostensibly to readjust my mental state. Oh well, this was just business as usual for me. The deadline the system gave me was 3 months. A month had already passed. Looks like I needed to step things up. Lately, Isabella's public image had taken a nosedive, causing Wilson Corp's stock to fall. There were also rumors online that she was lovesick and depressed, and hadn't been to the office in a long time. Wilson Corp's investments had shrunk by more than half in the last month. When I heard the news, I just shrugged. Lovesick again? 3 years ago, she was lovesick when Julian went abroad. 3 years later, Julian is back by her side, and she's still lovesick. Lady, you're the heroine of an angsty novel, not a teenage melodrama. If you're gonna get lovesick at the drop of a hat, you might as well just give up your leading role. Wait, don't tell me she's actually fallen for me? In contrast, Chloe had been making moves in the background, snatching several major projects from Isabella. The employees at her company were unusually united and motivated lately. White Corp was already on the verge of surpassing Wilson Corp. It was getting to the point where I felt bad about staying home. I was lying on the couch watching TV and casually flipped to an entertainment channel. The host was speaking excitedly into a microphone. We have just learned that the CEO of Wilson Corp and the young master of the Lin family will be holding their engagement party soon. This will bring tremendous opportunities for both families. Isabella was getting engaged to Julian? Oh my God. This plot has gone completely off the rails. According to the original story, after Julian returned, I was supposed to be heartbroken and cut ties with Isabella. Then, after I left, Isabella was supposed to realize that she did have feelings for me and couldn't live without me. Thus would begin Isabella's redemption arc, where she would chase me until I was finally moved and took her back. But, of course, why else would it be called an angsty novel? Later, I was supposed to accidentally discover that Isabella was the one who caused my father's company to go bankrupt and him to fall ill. And so would begin the whole he runs, she chases, they're doomed to be together cliché. Because I broke my persona and wrecked the birthday party, the subsequent plot was thrown into chaos. And now Isabella was going to marry Julian. She's about to get engaged to one guy while still pestering me? No, I can't let this engagement go smoothly. Otherwise, if Isabella gets financial backing from the Lin family, it will be even harder to take her down. I have to seize the initiative now. I decided to move up the plot point where I discover Isabella was behind my father's ruin. Before, the system not only controlled my persona but also prevented me from doing anything that would deviate from the original plot. But now I was free, so naturally I could use this to my advantage. I recalled the details from the original novel and sent a message to Chloe, asking her to help me find someone. Then I cleaned out my phone and, in my spam folder, found an email. I opened it. It was an engagement invitation from Isabella. Of course, my phone is smart enough to know that Isabella is trash. 1 week to go. I clenched my fists. Just you wait. Isabella, I'm gonna give you an engagement gift you'll never forget. A little something to repay you for how you treated me these past 3 years. Those 3 years by Isabella's side were the darkest moments of my career as an unhinged protagonist. Isabella knew I was a stand-in for Julian, hired by her father. So, the first time we met, she threw a stack of cash in my face. It was a bold move, but damn, my face really hurt, and I still had to recite the lines the system gave me. Isabella Wilson, what do you take me for? How can you insult me with money? Leo Vance, stop pretending to be so noble. Fine, if that's how you want it, then you won't get a single penny. We had a fight once. She threw me out in the middle of the night and told me to reflect on my actions. I had no money and nowhere to go. I sat on the curb all night. It was winter, and the temperature was below freezing. The next day, I was hospitalized with a severe cold, and Isabella just casually remarked, maybe now you'll learn your lesson. Later, she even forbade me from going out to work, wanting to turn me into a parasite who could only depend on her. What can a man like you do out there? Leo, know your place. You have no right to negotiate with me. You can't compare to even a single hair on Julian's head. Isabella, you thought you could just insult people because you were the heroine? Well then, I'll just find someone else to be the heroine. Winter is coming. It's time to close the book on this tragedy. The night before Isabella's engagement party, I received 4 calls from an unknown number. Each time I answered, the person on the other end said nothing. By the 5th call, even I wasn't stupid enough to not figure it out. It had to be Isabella. Isabella? If you have something to say, say it. How did you know it was me? The thought of me getting engaged to someone else tomorrow must be killing you, right? You're nothing special. Really, just average. I was never that into you. I hung up. How is it that everyone else has awakened, but this idiot Isabella still hasn't grown a brain? The next day, Chloe and I headed to the engagement party venue together. We glanced at each other, both of us looking eager and ready for action. We could see the excitement in each other's eyes. Is everything ready? You can count on me. Good. I'll add a little something extra to it. Let's make sure Isabella is thoroughly humiliated. Full of fighting spirit, we got out of the car and walked into the hotel lobby. A large photo of Isabella and Julian was displayed at the entrance. I secretly gave Isabella's face the finger. Chloe said to me, "Hey, that's right. Lift your hand a little higher. Look at the camera. What are you two doing?" Suddenly, Julian's voice came from behind us. He was wearing a white suit, his face meticulously made up. Seeing our actions, Julian's brow furrowed. He was about to say something when he caught my wicked grin and my eyes glancing down at his pants. Some unpleasant memories flooded his mind. Julian swallowed hard, forcing his words back down. I took a step forward. Julian took a step back. I took another step forward. Julian's eyes widened. "Why you, don't come any closer. Stay right there." I rushed forward and grabbed Julian's hands. "Congratulations. Congrats. Thank you for taking this menace. Isabella, off the market." Julian snatched his hands back in horror. "Leo, are you nuts?" Then he ran away. The engagement party was about to start, and the hall was already filled with people. When they saw me and Chloe appear together, many began to whisper, "Leo Vance? What's he doing here? What else? He's obviously bitter. He was by Isabella's side for 3 years without any official status. He must be holding a grudge. If I were him, I wouldn't show my face here. Isn't he just asking to be humiliated? You don't think he's here to crash the wedding, do you?" Isabella suddenly appeared in the middle of the crowd and said, "Don't be ridiculous. As if he's worthy." She looked me up and down, raising an eyebrow. "What's this? Just yesterday you said you weren't into me, and today you're at my engagement party. Leo, you're such a dishonest man." Before I could fire back, Chloe spoke up. "Isabella, is your brain filled with nothing but cringy alpha male cliches? You spend all your time thinking up new ways to be obnoxious, don't you? Maybe you should just let your company go bankrupt and become a novelist." Chloe had been hanging around me for a while and had picked up some of my style. Isabella, not expecting this from Chloe, retorted, "Well, Ms. White, you certainly have some interesting hobbies, leaving your own company to come to my engagement party. Though, as I recall, I don't think I sent you an invitation." "You didn't. I came with Mr. Vance. Your company's performance may be poor lately, Ms. Wilson, but surely you're not so broke you can't afford to set one more place at the table? Who says women don't get competitive?" Provoked by Chloe's words, Isabella grandly announced that she would give every guest present a 4-figure cash gift. I almost split my face from grinning. "You're probably not interested in money, right? You can give me your share." Chloe looked at me as if I were a lost cause. "I'm paying you double your old salary. Are you really that broke?" Operating on the principle that only a fool passes up a freebie, Chloe and I had come on empty stomachs. We practically cleared our entire table. The other guests' mouths twitched, their faces clearly saying, "Are you two actually just here for the free food?" Halfway through the party, it was time for the happy couple to give their speeches. I wiped my mouth and sat up straight. The show was about to begin. Julian, holding Isabella's hand, walked onto the stage looking very emotional, his eyes glistening. "Isabella, we've known each other for 10 years, and today we're finally together." Compared to his excitement, Isabella seemed overly calm. She just gave a faint her gaze fixed on me in the audience. Sent a chill down my spine. I had a very bad feeling. And sure enough, A man's intuition is never wrong. The next moment, it was Isabella's turn to speak. Leo Vance, I'm giving you one last chance. Just ask me to, and I will end this engagement party right now. You really have to bring things full circle, don't you? That's the same line you used when I awakened. And now, when I've already prepared your grand finale, you're still saying the same thing. All eyes in the room turned to me. I stood up. I'm not into you. Isabella was stunned. Why? Leo, this is your last chance. Because you're lame. The entire room was petrified, especially Julian. He stood there with his mouth open, staring at Isabella in disbelief. His eyes darted back and forth between me and her. Meanwhile, Chloe had already slipped backstage. She had arranged with the staff to play a slideshow of photos of Isabella and Julian. But in reality, it was a presentation of Isabella's shady business dealings over the years, including the dirty tactics she used to sabotage competitors. And, of course, how she had ruined my family. 1 second, everyone was stunned by the secret I had just revealed. The next, they were looking at the projection screen, their expressions a priceless mixture of shock and disgust. To keep up appearances, Isabella had chosen a 5-star hotel for the party, so all the equipment was top of the line. The projection was crystal clear, every word was perfectly legible. Oh right, I also added a few other things. Isabella's medical reports from her botched plastic surgery and her visits to a psychiatrist. The room erupted in gasps. Someone literally spat out their drink. Wow, I've really seen it all today. Isabella Wilson has done so many evil things behind the scenes and still shows her face in public like nothing happened. Her company's charity division claims to be #1 in the country, but it turns out she's been embezzling all the funds. No wonder karma's catching up to her. Leo was lucky to get away from her when he did. It was a blessing in disguise. Julian ran off, covering his mouth in disbelief. Only then did Isabella finally react, her face calm as she looked at me. You did this? I nodded. Isabella, you're just getting back what you gave me. I had to repay you for how you tortured me. I know you deliberately held this engagement party before your next round of financing to attract more investment. Too bad. Now, just as Chloe said, you'll have to let your company go bankrupt and become a novelist. Isabella's expression was strange. She clenched her fists, then relaxed them. You're not Leo Vance. You've been like a different person since my birthday party. Where did you put the real Leo? He loved me so much, he would never do this to me. Well, look at that. Isabella wasn't a complete idiot after all. She had noticed something was off. Too bad for her I wasn't replaced. I just shed the lovesick puppy persona of the angsty novel protagonist and went back to being myself. As for why she finally realized it, I suspect it's only because I stopped simping for her, which no longer fed her vanity. You moron. I never loved you. I walked onto the stage because I hated being looked down on by Isabella. In the world you used to live in, you did have special privileges. But you never grew, you just stayed in your own little bubble, imagining everyone revolved around you. And that's why you lost. With that, I turned to leave. But just before I did, I remembered what Isabella had said about giving everyone a 4-figure cash gift. Remember to have your finance department transfer the money before you file for bankruptcy. When Chloe saw my resignation letter, she wasn't surprised. She just asked me one thing. Are you sure? To be honest, I was kind of looking forward to retiring in this world. But the system told me there were several other worlds waiting for me to go crazy and change their stories. What a headache. Sometimes, being too good at causing chaos is its own kind of trouble.